Okay. Just checking to make sure. So last video I did, it didn't start when I started talking. It started right in the middle, so we gotta fix that. But anyway, this is Alex Will 64 here, and this is the second run of this dream genome theory that was continued in the first video before this one. And so we're just going to pick up where I left off on the PDF that is now with the first video. In this video, you should see a link. There's going to be a link in the description part of this YouTube video where you can download this, what I'm holding right now, the actual PDF for this dream genome thesis. So like, I don't know if before you get to this video, you probably downloaded the PDF, if, you know what I'm saying, so you could probably follow along with me, you know what I'm saying. Like, if you have the PDF on your phone or your computer, or if you printed it out like I did, you can follow along now. It's like a real class and shit now. Oh shit, you know what I'm saying. But like I said, we're gonna just pick up where I left off here. So and for those that are watching this video without watching the second one, you need to go watch the second one and stop being discombobulated. So this is the book in the works that I'm mainly pulling from. This is the Balls of Fire book. It probably looks reversed on your end. Oh well, you know what I'm saying. Just flip it and reverse it and do whatever tricks you gotta do to make sure it looks, straight to you on this side. But yeah, so this is Judy K. King's book, Balls of Fire. Been basically thumping this shit for at least 5 years. Like, yeah, it had to be 5 years because it came out 2015. So 5 years of bumping this all over my social media accounts. And before I begin, I just want to say that also in the description below in this video, and I didn't get to really mention it in the first installment of this Dream Genome Thesis series, Cash App. Yeah, Cash App. $ Alex Will 64. You know what I mean? I got my websites down there. You know what I'm saying? You could donate with the Cash App. And, I got my websites there where I teach spiritual warfare training. I also have two classes, online courses, on my ether-ins.teachable.com website. It's the emotional baggage claim for those that need to do that inner work emotionally with their baggage. And then the inner work suite, which is the extended version. So, you know what I'm saying? That is available. And like I said, you can find me on Instagram, AlexWill64, and Ether Realist. That's where you can find me. So getting right in where we left off. So now I'm at this section of this genome theory, and just a recap, just to refresh what I'm talking about. My dream genome thesis is that dreams are coded depictions. Use my handy dandy pen. Dreams are coded depictions of the genetic and quantum microbiological levels of our being. That's the thesis. So keep that in mind. So now we're bringing in astrology and astronomy, or astrology. For those that don't know, we're going beyond sun sign astrology that you may find in a magazine or in your local newspaper, or they may have astrology little knickknacks on Facebook where you can sit here and rep your zodiac sign as if you're in a gang. Like, you can say Virgo gang, Sagittarius gang, Gemini gang, gang. You can do that. You know what I'm saying? But like Young Dolph said in his song, everybody's screaming gang, gang, gang. But when the folks come and get you, you gonna tell on the whole gang. So niggas be out here snitching, you know what I'm saying? Stop the snitching, you know what I mean? But this is going beyond that sun sign astrology. You know what I'm saying? It's going beyond that. We're talking about different planets that represent different archetypes. If we're just talking about Jung, because a lot of people always want to reference Carl Jung and his depth psychological psychoanalysis and stuff like that. So if you understand anything about his depth psychology, you know that there's this such thing known as archetypes. And archetypes are ancient or primordial roles that we all play here down on the earth plane and then planes above that. So it's just like a stereotype, but it's more ancient and more primordial. And you'll often see the same archetypes in mythologies from here to Oaxaca and back. You know what I'm saying? So with a lot, like all these different cultures around the world, you always have the same figures, you know what I'm saying, or the same type of gods and goddesses or deities or heroes or villains or whatever you want to call them in each of these cultures. You know what I'm saying? There's always like the hero of the culture, of their cultural myth. There's always the wise old man, wise old woman, the monster, the mother goddess, the father, the son. You know what I'm saying? There's these archetypes, the shadow self or the shadow. You know what I'm saying? And you'll find these archetypes in religion as well. You'll find them in Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism. You'll find these archetypes. You know what I'm saying? So astrology is nothing but archetypes in motion, in time. How archetypes behave or how archetypes function in time. That's basically astrology. Astrology is the study of cycles. That's basically what it is. So even if you never use the Roman names for these archetypes like Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, even if you never use those names, the principles are what, or the archetype, the principal theme or the figure that they represent is always static, or it's always stable. That never changes. You know what I'm saying? So in astrology, just like you would have a clock, and it's important to this dream genome thesis that I'm dealing with. A clock has, you know what I'm saying, numbers, and it has, like, if you look at an analog clock, you see that the hour hand, minute hand, and second hand are moving around the circle of the clock, right? So just like that, because you need to understand the maxim, astrology is the clock of destiny. Astrology is the clock of destiny. So why would astrology and a clock be put in the same proverb or maxim or saying? Why would that be? It's because you're getting the idea of a clock from the astrological wheel. They're actually they're simonious with each other. They correlate. You got 12 numbers on the clock, just like you have 12 signs in the zodiac. You know what I'm saying? So why would one be any different from the other? So, for example, in astrology, we study what when a planet moves into a certain sign, because all these planets are in an orbit. When they move into a certain sign, it means something. Like there's a theme that's going to transpire or occur, at least down here on the physical plane. You know what I'm saying? It may not be as rigid when you get into the dream world or the astral plane, but definitely on the physical plane, when a planet moves into a certain sign or planets come into a certain angle or a certain combination, there's a meaning behind it. There's an indication. There's a symbolic function going on with when that happens. Just like with this whole COVID-19 thing, you'll see a lot of astrologers online or you know what I'm saying, on social media trying to map out, what planet configuration or astrological placement is encoding this whole coronavirus COVID-19 thing. And I'm going to go more depthically, because I ain't going to keep saying deep, because niggas done wore that word out, deep. We're going to say depthical. You know what I'm saying? I coined the word depthical. It should be in the dictionary by, maybe like 3 years from now. We're working on a package with that works. But um, we need to go more depthically into that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm going to do with this dream genome thesis. So let me just get started and read it. I just needed to explain briefly what astrology is. And then with a clock, you know that there are certain times of the day that the clock indicates for you. For example, at 8 o'clock in the morning, you probably have to get up to go to work. That means get up time, wake up time, right? Then you got to drive, I don't know, 30 minutes or whatever, but you clock in at 9 o'clock. So that's clocking time. So you may have this schedule throughout the 5 days of a week. So 8 o'clock you wake up, 9 o'clock you go to work, 12 o'clock you go on break, perhaps, or 1 o'clock. 5 o'clock you clock out. You know what I'm saying? If you have school or class, maybe you got class at 6 o'clock. If you have children, you know they got to eat at least by 7 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? And then you watch your favorite show on maybe prime time, like 8 o'clock or whatever. And then, you know what I'm saying, at maybe, I don't know, 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, that may be your bedtime. And you may follow that same schedule throughout 5 days of the week. You know what I'm saying, on the weekdays, right? So at certain times you are to be certain places, certain things occur. You know what I'm saying? It's the same shit. It's the same thing with astrology. If Saturn is in Gemini, it's a schedule for something to happen. If Mars is about to retrograde or move backwards in its orbit to Taurus, we know that there's a meaning and a theme and a motif behind Mars or that archetype in the sign of Taurus. There's something that you're going to see out in the world, or there's going to be a emanation or a projection of that theme out into the earth plane. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically astrology in a nutshell, for those that don't know. So, and that's important for what I'm about to talk about. So going back to this thesis here, the astrology birth chart wheel, which is the wheel that, if, like, for example, I'm an astrologer, and if you wanted your birth chart from me, in the first few pages of the birth chart report, you're going to get a wheel that shows where the planets were in their orbit at the time, date, and place of your birth. Where were the planets at? And we're talking about the 10 main planets, like going from Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. And then you could get into other features like the North Node, Lilith, all the other asteroids. We also deal with the ascendant, which is the first degree of your birth chart, and the midheaven, which is the 10th house degree. See, this shit may sound confusing to those that don't know about astrology, but basically what I'm trying to say is that we do an assessment of what you are, who you are, your personality, your dispositions, your calling in life, all these features of your life, all these areas of your life, all these things happening in your life with you included in the life, in your birth chart, based on where the planets were at the time you were born, on the day you was born, where you was born on the earth. There's ways to calculate that. So you getting a birth chart from me is you wanting to go on a quest, you know what I'm saying, to know who you are. Like it's an application of know thyself. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the most ultimate tools of self-knowledge, at least for your human self here in the physical realm. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be careful not to over-identify with your birth chart, but use it as a means to become more spiritually advanced in your path. You know what I'm saying? Or at least becoming more aligned to your soul and what your soul is here to do. You know what I'm saying? So the astrology birth chart wheel, which is an actual circle, and in Vedic astrology, which is more of the Hindu, Indian type of astrology, they use a square. You know what I'm saying? With triangles in it. But for the purpose of Western tropical astrology, that's what I do. That's what I'm into. We use a wheel. And the wheel is, first of all, divided in 12 sections of the signs, because there's 12 signs, so it's divided in 12 sections. And then within that circle, there's another division of 12 based on your houses. So the houses in your birth chart represent the areas of your life. So the first house represents your personality, your physical body, your appearance. Second house represents your possessions, your self-esteem, your value, the things you own, the things that you covet, or things that you have in store or in a bank. It's basically your finances. Third house would be The way you read, learn, write, and communicate. It's the communication house. How do you learn? How do you perceive the world? How do you message? It's also the house of your close friends and brothers and sisters. Those who are basically in the same line or classroom as you are. Fourth house would represent your home, your domestic life, your family. You know what I'm saying? It represents, your psychological underpinning or your foundation. So as you go along the wheel, you get into different areas of life. So when a planet is in a certain house in your chart, it's telling me that there's an archetype or a role in your life that is based in that area of your life. So for example, I have sun in the first house. The sun is in the first house of my chart. So that means that whatever the sun represents, it's tied to this area of my life. So the sun represents your personality, your ego self. It represents you. It's your attention span. It's your vitality, your life force. So if my sun is in the first house, that means my life force is concentrated on my appearance, my personality, my outlook on life, my persona, everything, the mask that I wear, and the first thing that people see is going to be my sun or the sun in my chart. You know what I'm saying? And then there's other themes that go with that. Most people with sun in the first house, they're usually creatives. Like they're very creative, they're very inventive, or they're some sort of leader or some sort of face for a movement or a company or like some sort of thing that they're the face of. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we interpret what's going on with you based on where these archetypes, known as that we call planets, are in which area of life, and then also what sign are they in as well. So you gotta do an interpretation of the planet, the sign that it's in, and then the house or area of life that it's in. So that's a composite symbolic meaning that an astrologer is to interpret for you. And by doing so, you get to understand yourself better, and you get suggestions on how to express the highest vibration or highest frequency, or the best version of that house or that planet in that house in that sign. Okay, so that's basically astrology again in a nutshell. I keep trying to explain this shit instead of getting to what I'm doing, but the astrology birth chart wheel may be a symbolic start this shit over. I got marinate the tongue. Hold on, tongue marination. There we go. Reset. The astrology birth chart wheel may be a symbolic representation of the master cell in each of us. If this is true, then each planet in the chart may encode a section of a person's genome, as well as each zodiac sign and house in the chart. This ties genetics to astrology. So let's explain that part. So I'm saying that the wheel itself in astrology that is used to represent, someone's horoscope or their birth chart, right? That is synonymous and analogous to your master cell in your body. What is your master cell? Let's recap. The master cell is the first cell of your physical self. It was the fertilized zygote upon conception when your father's sperm cell hit your mother's egg cell, and then that fertilized zygote attached to the uterine wall of your mother's womb. That very first cell is your master cell, because from that cell it started to divide and continuously throughout the 9 or 10 months of gestation or pregnancy while you were in your mother's womb. So you went from a single-celled organism, because a sperm cell and an egg cell are both gametes. That means they are cells with half of the genetic material of the mother, and then yeah, so the egg cell is a gamete. It has half, each egg cell has half of the genetics of the mother. The sperm cell has half the genetics of the father. So they're basically halves, and the halves need to come together to complete a whole, to become a whole. You see what I'm saying? So when the sperm cell hits the egg cell and then attaches to the uterine wall, it's first just a single cell. Then it starts to divide continuously. So you go from being a single-celled organism to becoming a multicellular organism over the course of 9 to 10 months, right? So that master cell, that very first cell of the sperm and egg joining together, that's what I'm calling the master cell. So the birth chart wheel in astrology is symbolic of that master cell within you, that's still within you. It's symbolic of it. So again, this ties genetics to astrology. So astrology to biology, we're tying biology to genetics, which is an extension of biology, and we're just tying it all together based on that understanding, because that's what I discovered. This is a key part of the dream genome thesis. So the planets in that birth chart are representing something in your master cell. The sun for me, I would say the sun perhaps represents the nucleus of the cell. And then I kind of discovered that Pluto must represent, or I would think it will probably represent the mitochondria in your cell. But again, this needs further study. This is, one of the reasons why I'm putting this out here, because this is an ongoing study. I'm just giving you the gist of what I found and what I've discovered in the revelations about this whole discovery. So if the planets represent, for example, you have organelles in your cells. Each cell in your body has organelles. So it's based, the word organelle comes from the word organ, which is the organs that you have in your body. So organelle means it's like a miniature or a microscopic organ. So you have these organs within each cell of your body. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's billions or trillions of cells that each of us carry in our physical self, but you have organelles within each body. So what of the there's there based on what we're talking about with the birth chart, there may or must be 12 sections of the cell that are symbolic in nature. So symbolic that astrology is an outgrowth or a child of that master cell. The whole theme of the whole birth wheel and planets moving along an orbit over a duration of time, that's what your master cell is a predecessor of, or a precedent to astrology. So this, like I said, this whole thing ties genetics to astrology. Further tying both fields is the correlation of the four bases. You know what I'm saying? The four actual bases of your genes, which is the adenine or A, thymine or T, cytosine C, or guanine G. So if anybody out there knows genetics, you know about the four bases that create the codons, the 64 codons that then create the 21 or 22 amino acids that then create all the proteins in your body. Established in the previous video. So when you're dreaming about a human or a certain creature in your dream, doesn't even matter if the creature is something that you would consider a chimera, or what I'm saying, like some sort of fantastic mythological creature. It's talking about something going on in your cell. And what other thing could be going on in your cell other than the proteins doing what they do in your cell, and then also the organelles doing what they do in your cell. So when you get to the genetics, when you get to genes, you have the adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. So these 4 bases can be compared to or can be correlated to the 4 classical elements like fire, water, earth, and air, which these 4 elements play a large role in astrology. Why? Because each sign in astrology has a element to it. So let's go through them. Let's be elementary. Aries is a fire sign. Taurus is an earth sign. Gemini is an air sign. Cancer is a water sign. Leo is a fire sign. Virgo is an earth sign. Libra is an air sign. Scorpio is a water sign. Sagittarius is a fire sign. Capricorn is an earth sign. Aquarius is an air sign. And finally, Pisces is a water sign. So the whole thing about this air, there's 4 of them: fire, water, air, earth. So that we're making a correlation of that to the 4 bases in your genetics: the adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. So we would need to do further study to see if adenine is either fire, water, or air, or earth, and then do it for the other bases within your genes and your chromosomes in your DNA. And then the 4 bases can also be correlated with 4 forces of the cosmos: gravity, electromagnetic, force, and weak nuclear force. So this is something that you can, if you want to, you can go ahead and study for yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you so desire. And then the 4 bases can even be compared to the 4 apostles of the Bible, which are the 4 fixed signs of astrology. So the fixed signs of astrology are what? It's Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. So that means that each sign has an element and it also has a modality. And modality is based on beginning, middle, and end. So you take these 3 modalities, beginning, middle, and end, or God separate the for God can be to be operate up, you level, and then you go down. You are born, you live, then you die. You know what I'm saying? Sex, generation, survival, death. So that plays a part in astrology as well. So there's those 3 modalities. And then this is interesting because each of the 64 codons in your body are made up of 3 genetic bases. So you can have adenine, thymine, adenine, or a cytosine, guanine, or guanine, thymine. You can have those combinations with the codons, right? And this whole codon thing also correlates to the I Ching or the I King hexagram system from Asia. I think it's China, I believe. And then the IFA system with the 64 I think I forgot what they use in IFA, but it's this whole thing about 64. Hence Alex Will. You see how I can shit. But also the board is and has 60. Board has squares 8 times. See all these, which is, you know what I'm saying? That's what Humpty Dumpty is supposed to be doing. So he can't be kind of like giving that responsibility to other niggas. But and, I digress. I went all way off topic. But basically Aquarius, and then when you put the signs of a Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius together, you get the Sphinx. The Sphinx is a amalgamation of the bull, the lion, the man, and the eagle. You have to understand that Scorpio is also represented by an eagle or a bird. Because they go for Scorpio, they always like to go into this thing of how the scorpion is the lowest version of Scorpio. And then if you develop yourself spiritually, you become the spider, and then you become the eagle, and then you become the phoenix. You know what I'm saying? That type of shit. But the Scorpio was originally like a bird. So when you put the wings of the bird, the body of the bull, the tail of the lion, and the head of a man, you get the Sphinx, which is based on the 4 fixed signs of astrology. When you see the celestial cross that these hillbillies be out here with, these fucking Confederate flag hillbillies, and some black people down there in the South, how they like to represent that celestial cross, that X with the blue is blue X with white stars in it, then it has red around it. That shit is really talking about the celestial cross, which is the cross between Taurus and Scorpio, that line, and then it's crossed between Leo and Aquarius. So understanding that Masons were a part of a lot of these groups that were formed during the, especially during the slave era. Always account for the Freemasonic influence of any of these groups. Always consider the Freemasonic influence. So that, like I said, so the bases of astrology, those 4 bases, guanine, adenine, cytosine, and thymine, can be compared to these 4 elements, 4 forces, 4 apostles, and 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. So that further ties astrology to genetics. Now let's go further. Let me marinate the tongue one more time. All right. If each planet represents a psychological archetype, so even if you don't even have to use psychological, that's where we're getting into depth psychology with Carl Jung and perhaps even the Sigmund Freud nigga. So if each planet represents an archetype, and if a planet encodes for a section of the genome, which is genome is your complete set of DNA in your body, and if a section of a genome encodes the assembly of a protein structured and assigned to a specific function or activity in the cell, then each person's likeness in a dream may represent an archetypal function in the cell that a particular that a particular thing is associated with. Yeah, that a particular protein is associated. Oh, so let me reset that. Then each person's likeness in a dream may represent an archetypal function in a cell that a particular protein is associated with. I gotta fix that. I forgot to put that there. Hold on. One moment. Let me go back. You always gotta make repairs along the way and shit. So let me repeat that so it's concise. If each planet represents an archetype, and if a planet encodes for a section of the genome, and if a section of a genome encodes for the assembly of a protein structured and assigned to a specific function or activity in the cell, then each person's likeness in a dream may represent an archetypal function in a cell that a particular protein is associated with. So what did I just do? I tied the protein, the archetype, and the planet in astrology together as one thing. So when you're having a dream and someone is in your dream is representing a protein, a astrological archetype in your dream, in that dream. So it's a planet, an archetype, and a protein lined up with each other in the dream. So I don't know if you even write your dreams down to know that you have reoccurring dreams about a certain person or certain people. Those certain people are representing a protein in the cell of your body, in the master cell of your body. Your master cell is what all the other cells in your body are based on. So every cell in your body has the complete genome except for your gametes, which for a man that would be a sperm cell, only has half. And then this, if you're a woman, your egg cell has half of your genome. But every other cell in your body has your complete genome in it, your complete set of genetics, right? So within the cell of your body, you have these proteins doing actions. They're doing things in your body. They're either moving atoms around, They're storing water. They're breaking down food that you've just eaten. They're fighting off diseases in your cell or any type of malfunctions. They're trying to fix it. They're trying to repair DNA. They're creating amino acids to create new proteins. They're doing so many different activities. The range of activities of a protein is the same of the range of activities of the human or the animal on Earth. So just picture the things that you do on a daily basis. All the things that you do, whether it's driving a car, eating, fucking, you know what I'm saying? You fighting somebody, you're arguing with them, you're having a discussion. You know what I'm saying? You're building a house, you're writing a book, you're shooting a movie with people, you're having an orgy, you're initiating someone by poking them in the ass, what the Illuminati niggas do. You're doing all these functions as a human being on Earth. And then what animals do as well, like a dog. Dogs don't do one thing. They chew on slippers and shit. They hump legs, you know what I'm saying? The little pink thing hanging out. They bark. They help blind people across the street. They protect the house of your guard dogs. They provide a sense of family for those that don't have a family or a companionship. Dogs are a man's best friend. They be having little poodle shows and shit showing off the coat of the dog that got a little shape up on his fur and shit. There's so many things that a creature can be doing, or the range of actions that a creature is doing. You know what I'm saying? And then another example, you may be a person that likes to party and drink, but your brother or sister may be somebody that's a workaholic that doesn't drink and they basically a stick in the mud. So you're more inclined to festivities while your brother or sister is more inclined towards business and corporate activity. So that's letting us know that there are humans and people. There's people and then there's creatures that come here to do a specific thing or perform a specific action, and they're more inclined to do that action than anything else. So why take your partying ass to a fucking corporation to work when all you do is fucking drink Hennessy and shake your coochie? You know what I'm saying? You don't fit in a corporate setting. That's not your lane. You excel well in a strip club, for example. You may excel there, or you may excel better in a science laboratory, or you may excel better at a mason. You know what I'm saying? Like building houses. That may be something that you're more built for than someone else. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not built for tarot card reading. I'm more built for astrology. You know what I'm saying? You see what I mean? So people out here perform different functions, mostly based on the fact that they have a certain disposition or a certain inclination to do that activity. That's the proteins in your body that are built or structured for a certain activity. You see what I'm saying? So now we going back to what I'm saying. When you have a dream about somebody, they are representing a protein, a planet in your birth chart, and also an archetype. You see what I'm saying? So that's a way that will help you interpret your dreams next time, and not just people in your dream, but certain objects and certain creatures or animals in your dream as well. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're dreaming about cows and wolves, I've had dreams about wolves, snakes, um, what else? Birds. You know what I'm saying? I had a dream that my black pistol had a firebird inside of it. You know what I'm saying? But I know that firebird was Heru Behudet or Horus the Elder in ancient Kemet. Especially that a lot of my spiritual activity revolves around that archetype, the warrior archetype. You know what I'm saying? The soldier archetype, the divine killer archetype. You see what I'm saying? So when you go to your dreams, if you're even writing them down, or I don't know how you record them, understand what archetype that creature, that person, or that thing represents. That's one of the ways that you can first try to understand your dreams. And then what you can do is when you find out the archetype, you match it up with a planet in astrology, and then once you do that, you go to microbiology and structural biology to find out what inside the cell is correlated to the function of that archetype in that planet. This is how I'm interpreting my dream. Because now, like I said, my dream genome thesis is that your dream is a coded description or a coded, here, I'll give you the exact verbiage. My thesis is that dreams are coded depictions of the genetic and quantum microbiological levels of our being. So we're tying all these different disciplines and academic studies together to come to one concise whole. This is the true holistic study, transdisciplinary approach, where we put, and this is something that I first learned about this studying like logical and lateral thinking, like that Edward de Bono books, like where you're looking at things, you're trying to put like a puzzle together. You know what I'm saying? So when I got to this, no, excuse me, scratch that. The lateral thinking does play a part in it, but there's also this book called Consilience. That was the first time I learned about when you take certain different subjects in school or in college, and you put the subjects together to find a common denominator or the thread that ties all of these subjects of study together. So I forgot what the dude's fucking name was. There's a book called Consilience. But then when I got to this book, The Balls of Fire, Science of Life and Death, and her other articles and essays, she started talking about transdisciplinary approach, where you're taking disciplines and you're studying them at the same time. You're trying to find how this discipline or this subject or this academic field of study is correlated to another one and another and another and another and another. So you tie them all together to find what is the common feature in each of these academic fields of study, right? And this is what this book and her other work is basically about. It's a transdisciplinary approach to the arts and sciences, which will lead you to know that alchemy is the mother and the originator of all this shit, and it all goes back to alchemy. So alchemy itself is a transdisciplinary science. It ties all other sciences and subjects of study together. You will find it all in alchemy. It is all based in alchemy. So when you're interpreting your dreams the way that I just told you, you're taking an alchemical transdisciplinary approach to this thing going on when you go to sleep at night. So where did I leave off on? Okay, so the dream that you're having, the dream is dressing up proteins as people, animals, and figures in our lives, at least in our physical matrix reality, whose purpose in our lives correlates to the protein's archetypal activities. So the reason that you have a relationship with any motherfucker on this earth is represented by the protein functions in your master cell. I don't care if it's your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your brother, sister, aunt, you know what I'm saying, your mother, father, your mama, your papi, your grandmama, your nana, you know what I'm saying, your great grandma, you know what I'm saying, your gay lover, like everybody you have a relationship, your co-workers, your fellow Masonic buddies, the niggas that you crossed over in when you was doing your little Greek thing on college campus, anybody you have a relationship with. Even your enemy. You know what I'm saying? The niggas you beefing with. You know what I'm saying? People that you don't like. Your relationship with them is symbolic of the commingling of proteins in your master cell. Your children, the relationships you have with your all your relationships. I don't care what type of relationship it is. Friendship, co-worker, lovers, family. It don't matter. Each relationship you have is symbolic of a commingling activity of proteins in your body. So when you have a dream about them, or you can even have, there's dreams where you have a dream about a famous person you ain't even met or probably will never meet in your life. You know what I'm saying? I've had dreams like that, like a celebrity appeared in my dream. So the celebrity for me is representing also a protein. or some sort of activity going on in my master cell. Why the fuck would I be dreaming? I have dreams where I'm not even thinking about these people that I'm having dreams about sometimes. Sometimes I'm thinking about them, sometimes I'm not. So sometimes when I have a dream where I'm not even thinking about the person in particular, I'm like, why the fuck am I having a dream about this person? I wasn't even thinking about them. But it has nothing to do with what I was thinking about. It has more to do with what's going on in the master cell of my body. And by extension, the other cells in my body. Because the other cells in my body, although they have the entire genome, one cell is only expressing a section of my genome. So that's where you get your blood cells, skin cells, lung cells, heart cells, gallbladder cells, eye cells, hair cells in your ear, um, bone cells. They all have the genome, yet they only express a section of the genome so that they can turn themselves into whatever thing that they need to become in your body. So, for example, even though the bone cell has the complete genome, it's only expressing a section of the genome so that it can become a bone cell, so it can comprise your fucking skeleton. You know what I'm saying? So get that down pat so that you know that. You know what I mean? So that's why when you have a dream and you go into the relationship of you and the person that, or the thing, or the animal, or the creature that you're dreaming about, you know what I'm saying? You need to see that relationship and compare that relationship to your relationships in your physical life, and see, and that's a way to understand why you have a relationship with that person or that thing or that animal or that deity or whatever that figure is. So, for example, if it's a famous person, like I said, it's probably something, a motherfucker that I'm never going to meet in my life, but I have a relationship to that person based on, if they're famous, I see them on TV, I probably listen to their music, I see them online or on social media. You know what I'm saying? So your dream is using the image of that person, place, or that thing to represent the activities of the functions of things in your cell of your body. So it's creating a graphical user interface. That's what the dream is doing. Because if that graphical user interface wasn't there, you probably having dreams that you don't you can't recognize anything in the dream, because you probably don't know or have no knowledge of biology or the structure of a cell or what a protein looks like under a mic. You don't know what that looks like probably until you see it. You know what I'm saying? And we're talking about the general populace. We're not talking about, if you are a fucking scientist, you know what I'm saying, or a biologist or a geneticist, and you're actually having like a dream about no, we're talking about most people are, their dream is giving them a graphical user interface so that they can recognize, if they choose to, what's going on in their dream. So when you put together astrology, um, literature, mythology, and you tie it to the genetics and the protein activity in the cell, you see correlations all over the place. You see a match of things all over the place. You know what I'm saying? So when you have a dream about, let's say you have a dream about your mother, for example. Your dream about your mother on the surface may seem like it's about her, when in fact it's really about what she represents in the cell of your body. You see what I'm saying? Your physical relationship with her in the physical realm is only a representation or a symbolic gesture of what's going on the microscopic level of your being. It's an outgrowth of what's going on the microscopic level of your being. So your true relationship with that person, on your mother, on in the physical realm, is just it's a representation. It's not is not realer or more actual than what's going on in the microscopic level of your being, or the quantum microscopic level of your being. Because we're talking about projection and emanations. So that means your dream life is more actual than your physical one. Hell, even Tupac said that. He said, "Real life is fake and dreams are for real." I think he said that. That's one of the quotes that they attribute to Tupac and shit. You know what I'm saying? And then I don't know if you write your dreams down or you remember them enough to know. My dreams are premonitory, meaning that they're premonitions, they're prophecies. So I can dream about something in the morning tomorrow, and it'll happen 2 days later in another fashion or form. But we're gonna get into that. Let me just keep going. So I just wanted to point that out, that your physical world relationships are nothing but a projection of your relationships with the proteins and organelles and whatever else is going on in your cell. So for those of you that keep attracting the same people, let's say on a dating scene, you know what I'm saying? This is an important knowledge to know. Like, you keep attracting that same person that just comes to you in different faces and different voices and different locations. They have more to do with your microbiology than anything. You know what I'm saying? So going back to what we were saying here. So like I said, the dream is like a veil. It's a symbolic veil, and if you lift up, like you take that veil off, all you're going to see is the activities going on in the master cell of your body. The same is, hold on, where was that? Okay, so let me repeat. The dream is dressing up proteins as people, places, things, animals, deities in our lives, or at least in our physical matrix reality, whose purpose in our lives correlates to the protein's archetypal activities. The same is true for zodiac signs that are encoding principles, and chart houses, which represent areas of life like personality, finances, sexual life, and career in astrology. The settings we may find ourselves in or are observing in our dreams are correlated to these 12 houses in astrology. So let me explain that shit. So you have houses in your birth chart, right? And I already explained to you that the houses in your chart represent areas of life. You know what I'm saying? The areas of your life. And you have 12 areas of your life that everything in your life is categorized in. So let's say in your dream, there's a setting in the dream. So now we already dealt with the characters in your dream, which can be people you know, people you don't even know, people you forgot. It could be famous people. It could be gods, goddesses, any type of entity, any type of animal, any type of creature. Then we get into the actual setting of the dream. Like, are you in heaven in the dream? Are you in the water? Are you in your mom's room, your room? Where you at? Are you in the depths of hell in the dream? You know what I'm saying? Are you at the burger place? Are you at the pizzeria up the streets? Where are you in these dreams? Like, what is the setting? Is it snowing outside in the dream? Is it thundering and lightning? Is it sunny day? You know what I'm saying? Are you on the Millennium Falcon in Star Wars? Like, like the setting? What's like the backdrop? You know what I'm saying? Like what's going on in the setting of the dream? What is the setting? That may correlate to houses in your birth chart. And then by extension, those settings are symbolic of sections of your cell, your master cell in your body. But again, you need to record your dreams to know what sections corresponds to what. You know what I'm saying? For example, I'm not afraid to tell you this. I kept having this recurring dream that my mother is driving a car and I'm in the passenger seat of the car. So the symbolic meaning is that my mother is driving, or something about my mother is in control of my behavior or my emotions or whatever, because mother is an archetype of the moon, right? Or a moon is representing the mother archetype. So there's this recurring dream that I've been recording is that I'm in her car while she's driving. So if you go to Carl Jung or any of these people that like to interpret the dreams on just a psychological level, you'll probably say that, yeah, your mother is controlling your actions, your behavior, you know what I'm saying? All of these things that the moon represents, right? But let's go even deeper into that. What does my mother represent in my physical life in my dream? What is she representing in my dream though? You know what I'm saying? What is she representing? So we go to the moon in astrology and be like support, family. What else the moon represents? Foundation, homeland, my subconscious drives, my comfort zone. So that's when you put together astrology and the depth psychology, and you may come up with a meaning based on that. But my dream genome thesis suggests that the dream is talking about a protein or organelle activity in my cell. So if the moon represents support, foundation, home, domestic life, subconscious drives, and comfort zone, where in my cell or what protein or organelle also represents support, comfort zone, mother, foundation, home life, what in my cell represents that? So then I would go to biology and microbiology and structural biology to find out what protein matches up with that moon archetype. Because then that's what the dream is telling me on one level, that this is what's going on in the cell of your body. Something that is represented by my mother or the image of my mother is controlling my cell or is controlling me or is I'm just a passenger in that car. Because even the car represents something. Even objects in the physical realm are symbolic of something within the cell of your body. You know what I'm saying? And then when you find out that each cell has microtubes in it where things are being transported to from one area of the cell to the other. Ooh. 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 So the dream genome thesis of mine is getting you to go more depthically into what the dream is about. Because you can stop at the depth psychological level and be like, oh, your mother's conditioning of you or whatever she taught you or whatever she ingrained into you or whatever her DNA is controlling your life or whatever. But we can go even deeper than that. And we're going to go more depthically into this. So pay attention to the setting of your dream. Where are you in the dream? You know what I'm saying? Are you in the sewer with the dookie? Like, where are you in the dream? Are you in a car? Are you on a boat? These things are symbolic of things in your cell, of your body, the microscopic cells of your body. This is what's going on. So there was never a time, as long as you were dreaming, that you did not know or was not a witness to what's going on within the cells of your body, or what's going on within your body in general. Because there's a lot of motherfuckers that know themselves, but don't know what's going on within themselves. Like, for example, how the fuck can you be egotistical or conceited or self-centered and you don't even know what the fuck is going on in the center of yourself? What kind of frackle-knackle sense does that make? You know what I mean? All right, so where I end off. Okay. The organelles in a cell may be either correlated to the houses or the signs in astrology. So organelles are larger features than the protein in your cell. Because you have an endoplasmic reticulum. Oh, let me bring it up on my phone right quick. 1 second. Hold on. Wait a minute, ma'am. Hold on. The sheer depthical energy right now. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Hold on. Do-do-do-do-do. Okay, so this is one of the posts that I put up. It's about the Astro biological clock. So, like I said, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram to have seen this, and this shit does appear backwards. So you got to go to my actual fucking Instagram to see it. So at the left hand, the top left corner, I have a picture or a diagram of a cell. So you have a cytoplasmic membrane of a cell, you have the endoplasmic reticulum, you have ribosomes, you have the nucleus, you have the nucleolus, you have the nuclear membrane, you have the Golgi bodies, you have the cytoplasm, you have the mitochondrion, and you have the chloroplast, which is usually within a plant cell. So you have all these different parts within the cell. So what if you are a protein within each of these bodies within the cell? And what if the setting of your dream is symbolic of wherever you are as a protein in the cell? What if the setting of the dream you had last night is where you was a protein within your nucleus, or you were a protein in your mitochondrion, or a protein within the cytoplasmic membrane, or the endoplasmic reticulum, or the ribosome, or the chloroplast? You know what I'm saying? And what you were seeing or observing or interacting with was the activities within the organelle, or the endoplasmic reticulum, or the nucleus, or the Golgi body of your cell. So going back to being in the car with my mother, that recurring dream that I'll be having, what if that's symbolic of me as a protein, some sort of protein, my mother represents a certain other type of protein, and we are probably inside the nucleus, or the cytoplasm, or the Golgi body, or the mitochondria. You have to write your fucking dreams down to know. Like, I can't tell you. You have to fucking write it down, yo. You gotta write it down, bro. Sis. You know what I'm saying? So again, the organelles in the cell, and then we correlate these settings to the houses in astrology. So the Golgi body may represent or be represented by one of the 12 houses in astrology. The nucleus may be represented by one of the houses in astrology. Motherfucker, the mitochondrion may be represented by one of the houses in astrology. And your dream may be your dream is depicting that. And that's the basis of my dream genome theory. Or I ain't even gonna say theory, thesis. Marinate the tongue, hold on. Okay, so now we're on the next bullet. I don't know if you printed this out and following along, like you printed out my PDF that goes along with these videos. So going to the next bullet, corroborating this astrology dream cell correlation is my own recordings of my dreams over the years. So let me just go into that. I first started really recording my dreams back in 2015. Along with, 2015 was a very important year for me, because it was the time when I got this book as well, and that's the time when I started getting deeper or more depthically into chaos magic. I started watching more of Bobby Hemmett's videos and stuff like that, and like I said, I came across the author of this book, and she sent it to me for free. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't even have to pay for this, John. You know what I'm saying? I got it for free from the author based on the short-lived relationship I had with the author. Via email and shit. So 2015, that was when I really started recording my dreams, because I've always been into lucid dreaming and all that shit. That probably goes as far back as 2010. That was the first time like I tried to actively lucid dream. Like I bought a book or two. Yeah, it was a book, and I was into it. You know what I'm saying? But it was 2015 when I started writing my dreams down seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like I was serious about it. Pun intended. But anyway, I kind of, I guess after 2015, it kind of just, I got lazy with it. You know what I'm saying? I just stopped doing it. I don't know. I can't even explain the reason to you right now. I have to go in my memory bank. But then I just stopped recording my dreams. You know what I'm saying? And I got back on that horse in January of this year, 2020. So ever since January 2020, I've been faithfully writing my dreams down. Faithfully. This year I haven't gone 3 days. The most I went without writing my dreams down is 3 days. You know what I'm saying? But even lately, I haven't been really missing any day of writing my dream down. I may have been 1 or 2 days, but now I'm just on it. I'm on it like clockwork. I'm recording them. I'm writing down what's going on in the dream, right? So when you do that, you're able to see patterns emerge. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm able to see things pop up now that I didn't notice before. Like I was telling you about the recurring dream of me being a passenger in my mother's vehicle or her car. You know what I'm saying? There's other recurring dreams. So, or themes and shit. So I'm starting to see patterns arise from my dreams. There's revelations I'm having about people, places, and things based on a dream I may have had months or weeks ago. So not only are my dreams prophesizing shit or predicting things, I'm also seeing emerging patterns that are shedding insight into the reason of the way my life is here on this physical plane of existence. You know what I'm saying? But how the fuck would you know if you don't write your dreams down, player? Play it. You know what I'm saying? How would you know? I don't think I could even come to you with this dream genome thesis if I'm not someone that's writing his dreams now. Hell, they even got apps where you can now catalog your dreams. So now, if you, let's say you have 28 dreams or 30 dreams in a month, right? Based on the 30 days of a month. So you can now catalog the dream. You can put tags on the dream so that when you go to the tag, it'll bring up all the dreams that have a tag in it. And then you can see if there's any type of correlation between the dreams with the tag on it. You're cataloging shit. It's one of the features of my emotional baggage claim course. That's exactly what that's all about. Cataloging and tagging your emotional baggage. So you can see patterns emerge and know exactly what to hone in on and pinpoint onto so that you can fucking deal with your emotional baggage. It's the same concept. But getting back to the thesis here. So corroborating this astrology dream cell correlation. So astrology, dream, and the master cell of my body, that correlation is my, you know what I'm saying, corroborating this astrology dream cell correlation is my own recordings of my dreams over the years. My dreams are premonitory, meaning is premonitions and prophecies come, things that are in the dream that then come true in the physical world as they display coded and or literal information on events that will happen 1 or 2 days from the date of the dream. So this is something I started to notice all the way back in 2015 when I started, the first time I started recording my dreams. Like something would happen in a dream and then a day or two later, the shit would happen. You know what I'm saying? Or the dream was encoding something symbolic of what's going to happen. I noticed how the activity encoded by an upcoming astrological transit where the planets currently moving in their orbits are making significant angles with the stationary planets in my birth chart is also encoded in my dream 1 or 2 days before the transit is at its strongest point. So this is going to take some time to explain. So let me just do it briefly. So there's another application in astrology called transits, meaning that you have your birth chart of stationary planets, meaning it's like a snapshot of where the planets were when you were born, right? So we know with a snapshot, nothing moves. It's not a motion picture. Like, it's just a frozen frame of whatever you took a picture of. So a regular picture of a tree, the leaves are not moving. You don't see the fucking breeze moving through the trees. You just see a fraction of, you see a frame of it, right? A still. You see a still of it, a still frame of it, right? That's your birth chart. But we know that the tree is moving, right? The leaves are moving. The breeze is going through the fucking tree right now. I'm looking at it right now through my car window. So the planets don't stay fucking still. They're always in their movement, no matter how fast or how slow they're moving. They're always moving, right? So with transits, that study of transits, as these planets are still moving around the zodiac, they are making significant angle relationships with the stationary planets in your birth chart. So as these planets are making those significant angles, the ones that are moving, they're making an angle relationship with the stationary planets in your birth chart. Certain things occur in your life. This is how you can map out your biorhythms and your cycles that you go through on a yearly basis or just throughout your life. It's cyclical. Astrology is the study of cycles. You're studying the cyclical nature of time in the physical realm. And also it would also have to apply to the astral realm, or the cells in your body, which we're going to get into within your body. So when you have a transit, let's say Venus is in Taurus and it's moving through Taurus, right? And when Venus is at the, I'd say the middle of the sign of Taurus, when it's moving towards the middle of the sign, which is like the middle 10 degrees of the sign, it's making a relationship with the moon, my moon in my chart. So let's say it's making a square. A square means that Venus is 90 degrees away in the chart from wherever the moon in my birth chart is at. So when that happens, something significant happens in my life. Or something in my life happens, like something comes into my experience. I behave a certain way. I do certain things. People do certain things to me. They contact me. It can encode many different things. But you should know that Venus will make a revolution around the zodiac and will come to that point in the middle of Taurus again. Just like the sun. The sun takes about 365 days to go around the zodiac. So let's say if it's the sun in Taurus making a square relationship with the moon in my chart. We know that in 365 days, this cycle is going to occur again. That square with the moon with sun is going to occur again and again. This is how we chart cycles. So if you know about transits, you know what to expect before the cycle happens again. So before the sun gets to that middle point in Venus, I can predict things that are going to happen before sun gets to that middle point in Taurus. This is how Nostradamus made all his predictions, using this science. Knowing where planets are going to be. This is how you can make predictions as an astrologer or whoever just studies astrology. When Saturn enters Aquarius, we know as astrologers, we know what to expect. So let me look and see where Saturn is right now. Where is Saturn in the astrology? Where is it at? So Saturn is currently 25 degrees in Capricorn at the recording of this video. Okay? So when Saturn enters Aquarius, we in the astrology that study astrology, we know what we can expect, some sort of things that's going to occur. So if there's any worldly events that occur when Saturn gets to Aquarius, those events are going to encode the themes of Saturn in Aquarius. You see how that science works? This is how Nostradamus or any other fucking prophesier, this is how they can prophesize what's going to happen 50, 100, 200, 1,000 years from now. So you know how we're in the age of Aquarius. Well, what if when the time comes when we're in the age of Capricorn? As an astrologer, I know what type of themes are going to come into play during that time when Sun is in that sign for that age. That's how people can predict what's going to happen. Just like you can predict on your smaller scale what's going to happen at 9 o'clock p.m. You know that a certain show on TV is going to come on at that time. You're making an expectation in advance that this show is going to come on this channel at 9 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock p.m. So this is how astrology relates to time, that we can predict things before they even happen based on whatever themes are going to occur that we know of when, like, for example, when Saturn is going into Aquarius. Marinate the tongue. Hold on. And what I'm saying when it comes to the dream genome theory or thesis is that your cells are biological clocks. In fact, you get a clock based on the inner workings in the gears or the organelles and the proteins at work in your cells. The clock in the astrology wheel is based on cells in your body. The format, the pattern, the structure of your astrology wheel and the clock on your wall is based on the workings of the cell. It's based on the activities and the depiction of the cell. And your dreams are showing you what the fuck is going on within your cell. That's why you will have dreams at certain moments in your life and not at others. So what I'm saying also is that when I was talking about that, I noticed how the activity encoded by an upcoming astrological transit or cycle, where the planets currently moving in their orbits are making significant angles with the stationary planets in my birth chart, is also encoded in my dream 1 or 2 days before the transit is at the strongest point. So that means that before the transit is at its peak, right? Before it's at its peak, I have a dream about what's going to happen in a coded way before it happens in my dream. You see how that shit works? So using my dreams and using the transit, because I have this app on my phone, Time Passages, this astrology app right here. I have that on my phone. This lets me know where all the planets are at, what signs they're in, and then what houses in my chart they are currently moving through. That indicates that there are certain themes and cycles that are going to occur during the time those planets are in those signs or houses. So I know what to expect when the sign or the planet goes into a new sign or goes into a new house or moves into a new house in my birth chart. My dreams is indicating it as well. So that's how I'm able to predict or expect something to happen in my physical life. And it happens in cycles. There's people that don't even know that they come to me in cycles. They deal with me in a cycle. We have cycles with each other. So when the cycle is at its peak, that's when we'll interact, and then it'll go away, and then when the cycle comes back, we interact, then the cycle stops, and then we're not talking or we're not doing anything. Then the cycle comes right back around, and now we're sitting here talking. See, and then my dream indicates that as well. So this is like a correlation between all these things that are actually rooted in the psychological cellular level of my body and in your body. When the dynamics of endocellular activity, which means within the cell, endocellular, when the dynamics of endocellular activity is added to this, along with the maxim or the saying or the proverb, astrology is the clock of destiny, which correlates analog clocks and sundials to astrology, which you have 12 numbers around the clock, 30 degrees apart from each other, is equal to equivalent to the 12 signs of the zodiac. The materials and inner workings of a cell resemble the gears and inner workings of a fucking clock. My nigga. Because there's people, I'm not the first one to say, oh, or maybe I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this is the first time you hearing this. Perhaps you heard it from another conscious person. You know what I'm saying? Some other woke person, some other depthical person. I don't know. Some other occult person. I don't know. I don't know where you heard it from. If you've heard it before, that your birth chart wheel is symbolic of the cell in your body, right? I'm telling you that that's true, and then both of those are symbolic of the cell in your body. The clock too. And that you're having dreams about all of that activity throughout the nights of your week in the cell of your body. So all the planets, all the signs, all the houses in your birth chart are correlating to the 12 numbers in the clock, are correlating to the gears of a clock. You ever open up a fucking watch and you look at all the gears and the gizmos and the gadgets and the sprockets or whatever the fuck all that shit is called in the clock? Like you ever have like a translucent clock where you can see the gears moving in the clock along with the second hand, hour hand, and minute hand of the clock? The proteins and organelles in your body are symbolized by the gears in the clock. Meaning the proteins in your body are working on clockwork. They're moving on clockwork. Astro clockwork. There is a rhyme and reason. There is a rhythm, a structure to what the proteins and the organelles are doing in your cells. It's not some discombobulated, disorganized mess. No, there's a structure to it. There's an order going on. Just like there has to be an order within a clock and an order within the astrological wheel in your birth chart. This all indicates the dream world, and by extension, levels of the astral plane have a structure and a cyclical nature to them because of the dream's graphical user interface, symbolizing the cyclical endocellular activity in a person's master cell. This invites the terms biological clock. You've heard that, especially when it is about women when they reach 30 and their body is sitting there craving for pregnancy during those years of their life. They're on a biological clock. Their clock is ticking. Like there's such and such time when the eggs aren't usable anymore. You know what I'm saying? You've heard that saying, like this woman is on her biological clock, which also correlates to her menstrual cycle. This all ties into the clock, right? And this is why when it comes to the word mathematics and then the math, the mat, the MAT is symbolic of the female with her menstrual cycle, month, menses, moon. These are all correlated, interrelated words. This is why the woman, her menstrual cycle was a tool to clock what was going on in the world. Her menstrual cycle was a mathematical tool. That's why when you have month, month is moon. It was moonth. They just took a fucking O out that bitch and said month. It's based on the moon, which is based on the menstrual cycle of the woman, a 28 or 29-day cycle, which is correlate. There's women out here whose menstrual cycle is correlated to the moon exactly. So when there's a full moon, I guess that's when they bleed. You know what I'm saying? And I guess there's a practice you can do as a woman to correlate or synchronize your menstrual cycle to the moon. Because that egg cell is a moon. Oh, shit. It's a moon. It's a full moon tonight. You better be in tune with your moon. You know what I'm saying? Being an in-tune moon. Being in tune with your moon. You know what I mean? Because that biological clock is ticking. Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. So this whole thing that I'm talking about, it deals with the terms of biological clock, biorhythm, circadian rhythm. So you probably heard of that term, circadian rhythm. Let me look that up. Let me give you like an exact definition on that so it's precise. Circadian rhythm, biorhythm, biological clock ticking. Hold on one second. Do-do, 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 do. Da-da, do-do. You can go get you something to drink or go get you a little snack or something while I do this. We'll take a little, you know what I'm saying, a little breather. It was non-stop shit, ain't it? You know it was non-stop. Don't front, nigga. You know it was. Go get you a little oatmeal pie with a little, you know what I'm saying, a little juicy juice or something. So, basically a circadian rhythm is a natural internal process that regulates the sleep-wake cycle and repeats on each rotation of the earth roughly every 24 hours. It can refer to any biological process that displays an endogenous entrainable oscillation of about 24 hours. So this is what the fuck your cell is talking about, a biological process. It's telling you that if you know about your cell is the clock. The clock in the clock in the astrological wheel is based on the structure of your cells. That's where it comes from. You don't get a fucking astrological wheel or a clock without the cell. The cell is the predecessor or the precedent to astrology and the clock. So the clock is but a artificial synthesis of the cell in your body. Astrology is based on the same premise. Marinate the tongue right quick. So getting to the next bullet or next point in this thesis. The clock approach to the cell also implies that the contents in the cell are not stationary and that are actually revolving around in the cell the same way planets are revolving around the zodiac in your birth chart and in the horoscope. I'm giving you time to kind of like, you know what I'm saying, get it assimilated into you, into your being and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's always good to take a breather or a quick 5 minute, you know what I mean? Take a breather right quick. Take a chill tablet. Let it marinate. Let it soak into the pores of your cells in your body and shit. Let it percolate. Let it mix and mingle and shit. Okay? The clock approach to the cell also implies that the contents in the cell are not stationary and are actually revolving around in the cell the same way planets are revolving around the zodiac. So here's a passage from this website, bscb.org, talking about the cytoskeleton, the movers and shapers of the cell. So here's the passage. All cells, except those of bacteria, contain components of the cytoskeleton. They help the cell remain rigid, but also help it move and change its shape when instructed to do so. Components of the cytoskeleton also enable cilia, flagella, and sperm to move, the little wiggly ass sperm tail at the end, cell organelles to be moved and positioned, and muscles to function. There are three groups of movers, the motor proteins: kinesin, dynein, and myosin. So why is this significant? It's significant because it's letting you know that your cell are the contents of your cell are moving in a structured pattern. Just like the gears of a clock, just like the fucking planets in your fucking zodiac in the birth chart. They're moving, not in your birth chart, but in the transits, or in, you know what I'm saying, the planets are moving right now. You know what I mean? For all you like that for all of you that like to focus on Mercury retrograde or Saturn retrograde, we just came out of the retrogrades of Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto. They were all retrograding, but now they're all going back into their regular orbit. Retrograding means they're going backwards in their orbit, or it looks like they're going backwards in their orbit, but it's actually just stationary. But then it starts to move when it goes forward again. So with that information, knowing that the organelles in your cell are moving like clockwork, they're not like static. They're still moving. But it's all based off your birth chart from the master cell, that master snapshot of your cell where they were when you were born. You see what I'm saying? So the fact that these organelles are moving when instructed to do so, what's instructing it? The DNA? What's instructing the organelles to move in certain positions? It was just sitting here talking about the cytoskeleton will keep them in a rigid or a static place, but will also allow the organelles to move when instructed to do so. Who's the instructor? Who's the director of it? Who's controlling it? So your cells are clocks. Literal biological clocks. That's what your fucking cell is doing. It's a clock. It's an earth cell clock is what your cell is. They are all synonymous with each other. They're all linked. You see this shit? I know you see this shit. You need to download it then if you ain't seeing it. Why are you sitting here saying you see it but you ain't even looking at it? Because you may be thinking I'm talking about with your first eye looking at it, which was correct. I ain't going to sit here and bullshit you. So now you know that the features, there's things in your cell that move on clockwork, right? Just like your fucking astrology, just like the clock hanging on your wall at work that you be looking at trying to make sure it go fast. So the content in the cell, which is the proteins organelles, like I said, they move literally like clockwork in the cell. Probably astro clockwork. Like planets around the zodiac, like I just said. So that means what? Time, genetics, microbiology, and astrology are synced together. They're all the same. They're moving in the same format, same structure, same pattern. So that gives more fucking evidence to suggest that each organelle represents a planet or is represented by a planet in astrology. And the proteins that work within, on the surface of, or around these organelles are based on, what I'm saying, or they come from out of, or they deal with, or let me say this. Let me retract. Let me retract that. Hold on. Let me retract that. Hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. Okay, so yeah, maybe the organelles. I'm still trying to kind of, that's like I said, this is still ongoing research. So the the organelles are either the houses in astrology or the planets, but I know that the proteins are based on planetary combinations as well. So you have aspects in your birth chart or in your birth chart report. Aspects are the relationships between planets. So in your birth chart, Moon may be making a relationship to Mars. Saturn may be making a relationship to your Mercury. Sun may be making a relationship to Uranus, and so on and so forth, those significant relationships. So what I started to discover is that the people in my life, or the people that I interact with or deal with, are symbolic of these aspects in my chart. You see what I'm saying? So it's not even just the planet, it's the planet combinations that are, for me, when it comes to astrology, the most important thing in your chart are the planet combinations. Not where not which sign this planet is in, and less what house the planet is in. It's the planetary combinations. Because if you're dealing with two different fucking systems, like for example, tropical Western astrology, and then you deal with sidereal or Vedic astrology, the thing that does not change between the systems is the planet combinations. So if you have Sun square Pluto in your tropical Western version of astrology, you're still going to have Sun square Pluto in the sidereal side. And then motherfucking Vedic astrology doesn't even recognize Pluto. I don't think so. I don't even think, if I can recall, does it even represent any of the outer planets? Yeah, it don't even, like Vedic astrology doesn't even have a they don't even deal with Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Not that I recall. They don't even deal with that. So just let's just deal with the Western and the sidereal side. Because sidereal just has a different, I guess, like they try to use sidereal to match it up with the actual astronomical planets going around the fucking Earth, I guess. Or that's somehow outer space. You know what I'm saying? You see what I mean? But what won't change between the systems is the planet combinations. So if you have Mars, um, if you have Mars, like Mars opposite Pluto, or let's say Mars opposite Saturn in your birth chart, right? The same Mars opposite Saturn is going to be in the sidereal astrology and in the tropical. But the signs may change. So if you have Mars in Taurus in tropical astrology or Western astrology, it may change and it may be Mars in Gemini in the sidereal one. And I'm not here to say, as a Western astrologer or a tropical astrologer, I'm not here to say the shit is wrong. I'm just saying that I deal with the tropical side. There's motherfuckers out here that like to say, oh, well, sidereal is more act. It's like, you don't know that for sure. Especially the fact that you didn't even know that all this shit is actually based in the cells of your body. So we all may be fucking well off. You know what I'm saying? Until we make those synchronizations with the actual clock in your body, or the astrological wheel that is your cell in your body, who the fuck knows? For sure. So it's by proximity instead of actuality. We'll say proximity then. You know what I'm saying? Or quasi or something like. Or so somewhere where the accuracy may not be 100%, but it's somewhere up there where we can still make an accurate interpretation of your birth chart when we interpret it as astrologers, right? So dealing with the dream genome thesis, what we can safely say is that you are dreaming about planets acting as proteins or organelles in your fucking cells, and you're dreaming about it, and people in your life or features or figures in your life are symbolic of these activities going on in your master cell of your body. So then in this PDF little booklet, you know what I'm saying, I have a few posts from my Instagram page that add more insight to the dream genome thesis. And actually, if you go to my Instagram page and you go to a highlight that I have on my page, hold on. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so this is my Instagram, AlexWill64. You know what I'm saying? They like the way that I blew. You know what I'm saying? She liked the way that I rock, and she liked the way that I blew. And she make it clap for a nigga. Billie Jean. But, like, you know how Instagram page has the highlights right here, right? So you go to the D next one. And I have a series of posts within this highlight that deal with this genetic dream correlation. And this is what I put into this PDF that you can click on the link in the description of this YouTube video and be able to download it. So I have like 4 of them here. So this first one, like I said, this shit is in reverse, but you'll know what it looks like. You can just go to my Instagram page and you'll be able to see it. It's backwards though. My bad. I'll try to see what I can do to fix that next time, because the complaints get out of hand. You know what I'm saying? It is very complaining. It's the complaints, man. But the first post we deal with is explaining how your smartphone, computer, TV, tablet, digital watch, and car dashboard all have LCDs, which stands for liquid crystal displays. Guess what else has an LCD? Then we go into the background on iDNA liquid crystal. So this is when I found out that your DNA is liquid crystal. Literally liquid crystal. Crystal that is not like it's liquid. Just like the LCD display of your phone or the tablet that I'm doing this presentation on. Or when you turn on your car, if you have a car that's recent or a modern car, it has a digital display. It's an LCD display. Liquid crystal display. Your TV at home is liquid crystal display if it's a flat screen. And then if you have a plasma screen, which plasma is also a keyword, we're going to get into that as we go along. So the post is talking about how these electronic devices with these LCD monitors or displays is a direct projection of your LCD DNA, your liquid crystal DNA. That's what all your electronics with LCD monitors or LCD displays are based on. You are the original technology. This is what the fuck I'm talking about. You are the original technology. All other technologies are based off of your design, or projected from your design, or emanations of your design, or holographic projections of your inner design, of your complete total design. I don't care what the fuck it is. It could be a car, TV, a broom. It don't matter what it is. Any type of technology. Cranes that they use to lift up beams when they about to build a fucking skyscraper. All that shit is based on your fucking anatomy and your DNA and your structure. If you want more insight into this, get the book or the little booklet, Occult Anatomy of Man by Manly P. Hall. For those of you that need a Caucasian validation for the things that I'm talking about here. You know who you are. You know you one of them niggas. You need a white person to validate shit for you. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like I said, like I include it into the things that I'm studying, because I can come here just as a, you know what I'm saying, an indigenous black melanated person and speak about this shit. But if I don't have white resources, I don't think, or white references, I guess what I'm saying doesn't make sense, or it's not proven. So I have white people galore that have written about this shit that I'm talking about, and I put the pieces together of what they were saying and came here with the dream genome theory. You can thank me with the Cash App. $ Alex Will 64. You know what I'm saying? But getting into this post, comparing liquid crystal phases of DNA and implications for the origin of life to the phone screen, your computer screen, TV screen, LCD display on your car, wherever else has an LCD display. So liquid crystal DNA. If you were born in the right time and knew yourself on a DNA level, it could have been you who invented LCDs for TVs, computers, and phones. What is a chromosome, which means light body or color body? What? Hold on, excuse me. What is a chromosome? A color body or a light body? A deoxyribonucleic acid or DNA molecule with part or all of the genetic material or genome of an organism. So this is important that I'm going to talk about because even when we're talking about molecules, which is still the physical realm, there's format or information in the molecule, which transcends or goes beyond the physical realm. So focusing on physical DNA is not where I'm at with it. I understand that the DNA is either taking a shape or also is encoding certain holographic information that is beyond the physical realm. And it's an important tenet when you're studying metaphysics. So also in all of this, I'm a metaphysician as well as an alchemist, astrologer, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? This is all included. So when I say alchemist, you can say that I'm an astrologer. You can say that I'm a geneticist. You can say that I'm a chemist. Just by me being a fucking alchemist. You know what I'm saying? Oh, where was I? So a chromosome is basically a DNA molecule with part or all of the genetic material or the genome of an organism. So if this is an all liquid crystal, is something, if anything, being displayed like images on a phone screen or on a TV screen? So let me rephrase that. If the DNA molecule is like liquid crystal, is something or anything being displayed on it? Like images on a phone screen or a TV screen? Now, how does this add to dream genome theory or thesis? I keep saying theory, thesis. Dream genome, how does this connect to dream genome thesis? How do they correlate with each other? What if your dream is just like you watching fucking TV on your fucking couch right now? Or watching me on your YouTube, whether it's a tablet, your laptop, your PC, or your phone right now, or your iPad or whatever. So the dynamic of you watching your dream unfold or observing your dream or interacting with your dream is analogous to you interacting and watching your LCD display on your electronic device right now, cuz. Come on, cuz. You gotta let it soak in. Let it, you know what I'm saying? Breathe in, breathe out. So when I was talking about graphical user interface earlier, was it the last video and in this video when I was talking about the graphical user interface, that's what your dream is following the pattern is not following the pattern. It is the basis of the pattern of what your phone and your TV and your tablet is doing. Or let me rephrase that, your phone, TV, tablet, computer monitor is following the same dynamics of your dream on the DNA level. So you can literally go into your dream right now. If you're asleep, you go into your dream or whatever, and you will be looking at the most advanced technology there is when it comes to image display, right there in your DNA molecule. Your DNA is a liquid crystal display with holographic images in it. And that's what the fuck that's what the part of your dream is all that's what's in your dream. So you can literally look at information of your entire genome in your dream if you know what the fuck you're doing when you get into your dream. This is why lucid dreaming is an important factor in this whole dream genome thesis. When you get into the lucid dreaming part of it and you know what to do when you lucid dream, you can map out your own fucking genome. You don't need white people in their think tanks to do that for you. You can do it the fuck yourself. You can do it your damn self. You just need to know how your original technology works, i.e., your body, and fucking apply accordingly. Because you know how your phone is touchscreen now, or your tablet or your computer is touchscreen. You can touch it and affect changes on the image display and do things just by touching it. Like you don't have to press a button up under it, or you know what I'm saying, motherfuckers, you ain't even have to type on a fucking a physical keyboard. You have a virtual keyboard right there on the touch display of the LCD display of your phone or tablet or device. Nigga, they even came out with a technology where it's like a box where it beams out a holographic keyboard. Where if you put it on your, like just on a regular desk, right, and you put the device on top of the desk, then it has like a red beam that sends out a hologram that forms on the desk, and now you can type shit just by like typing on the desk with the holograms light on it. And you can type up shit like that. You can type up a love letter with that shit, my nigga. For my niggas that love letters. You can type up diet woke posts on there, you know what I'm saying? Diet woke captions to make yourself look smart and deep and shit. You know what I'm saying? You could do that with that technology. But what's the precedence? What is all that shit based on? It's based on your original technology. It's based on your fucking format, on the format of your organism, of yourself, you, the flesh. And then the actual format is actually beyond the physical realm. So when you touch the touch screen, what you're doing is you doing the same thing you do in a dream. You can touch things in the dream. It's not just a flat fucking screen where, or your dream, you could have a dream about something like that, but for the most part, people dream like you are interacting with the fucking dream environment just like you can interact in the physical environment. So guess what? They are going to then come out with a technology. These motherfucking people, these white people with their, electronics or whatever. Guess I can predict this shit. They're going to come out with technology, if they haven't already, where you can interact with the LCD monitor on a three-dimensional scale. Not just on a two-dimensional scale where you can touch screen. Now you can interact and go into this whole fucking holographic is a holographic liquid crystal display. And I was fucking with you and I said they're gonna come out with it. They already did. That augmented reality shit. That virtual or augmented reality shit. It's all following the pattern of your liquid crystal DNA in your body. That's where it all comes from. So when someone creates a device, what they're doing is subconsciously following the format of their DNA within their body. Just like everything else out here in the world, we're subconsciously following the format within the area of our cell. Everything you can think of that goes on the earth is within the cell of your body. It's just that everything else out here is a artificial projection of what's the natural thing going on in the cells of your body. And you dream about this shit every night. This led me to discover that the dreams that we have while asleep are the series of images broadcasted from the liquid crystal display of DNA molecules. This also proves the holographic nature of DNA as proposed in the wave genome theory of genetics. So that's why in this in the PDF link that I have in the video for this YouTube video, you'll find the hold on. Let me pull it up. Hold on. Marinate the tongue. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to the first Dream Genome Thesis video I made yesterday. Hold on one second. Hold on. Okay, so I have a book listed here on the video, and it's going to be on this video as well. Quantum Consciousness of the Linguistic Wave Genome, Theory and Practice by Peter Garriev. He's the Russian scientist that I was talking about in the last video. That's his books. He has plenty of research papers, but this book kind of like gives you a solid conception of all his research. Because at first this shit was only in Russian, and I was waiting for the English version to come out. So yeah, the English version is the Quantum Consciousness of the Linguistic Wave Genome, Theory and Practice by Peter Garriev. So when his whole book is talking about the wave genome theory of genetics, or simply wave genetics. So wave genetics explains that the DNA is actually a holographic text, a holographic linguistic text within your body, or within the nuclei of your cells. So it's not simply molecules. No, it's beyond molecules. It's a holographic light text on a higher level of existence. And it's encoding this entire fucking existence that you're looking at, this entire physical realm, that microscopic holographic linguistic text. That is the basis of wave genetics. So when you dream, you are looking at a projection of wave genetics. You are in the plasma. So let me keep going on here. This also proves the holographic nature of DNA as proposed in the wave genome theory of genetics. The dream environment is a composite of plasmid holograms, where our conscious minds reduce themselves to a quantum-scopic level within or during the dreaming process, the quantum state reduction. Are you feeling depthical like how I am right now? Are you feeling it? That depthicalism, that depthicality, that depthicalness, are you feeling it? So going back, the dream environment is a composite of plasmid holograms. So plasma, that's the level of matter beyond, or as a phase of matter beyond the solid, liquid, air, and light, or the earth, water, air, and fire, the ether side of things. Plasma, when I say plasma, I'm talking about ether. So there's an etheric text, etheric holographic text That's your DNA. That's your true DNA. That's your true genetic text. That then the molecules form the DNA molecules form their structures and shapes based on that holographic text. So when you dream, you're seeing the holographic projection of that text. Because it's the same text that encodes for the proteins and the organelles of your cell. So the organelles and the proteins of your cell is the physical condensation or coagulation of that microscopic holographic linguistic text that is described in wave genetics or the wave genome theory. Therefore, the entire phenomenon of human beings watching content on or channeled to television sets, smartphones, computers, and other electronic devices is analogous to an artificial imitation or simulation of dreaming, our natural process. So when you're sitting here watching loads and loads of TV, you know how they say that the TV be hypnotizing motherfuckers and controlling them with advertisements and propaganda and subliminal messaging? Well, that TV is following the same fucking process of when you are dreaming. So the TV channel with all its content is the artificial dream. It puts you in a dream state. It puts you in another state of mind that is analogous to the state of mind you're in when you're in a dream. When you go watch a movie in the theaters, I don't know if you can do it with the COVID shit, and then they try to bring back theatricality with that movie Tenet, and it had bad fucking sound editing. You know what I'm saying? And motherfuckers thought that I was going to go up in there and try to watch the movie more than once and spend my money, but I'm not Christopher fucking Nolan. I'm not doing that shit. When you go into a movie theater, it is conducive of you dreaming. It puts you in a dark theater, right? A larger than life depiction on the silver screen. Sound is just all around, like you have speakers are going all the way up the sides of the wall, even behind you. And it's like you're submersed in a sleep state so that you can be fucking proselytized or inculcated or controlled or manipulated by the images and the rituals within the motherfucking movie that's being presented to you on the silver screen. It's mocking, or I'm going to say mocking, it's imitating how you are when you're in a dream. What's also interesting is that we don't even have to be sleeping to view or experience plasmo-holographic content on DNA liquid crystal displays. We can simply alter our mind states and witness what are often called visions. Have you ever had a vision where something came to you and you saw it, I guess, with your first eye? Some niggas will say that you said you saw it with your third eye or first eye, and it was a vision. It wasn't an imagination. It was like a vision. It's like some other set of eyes was like seeing something, but your physical eyes wasn't seeing it. It was like a fucking vision. Like a holographic vision in front of your eyes. Right there, you can be sitting, because I had this experience one time when I was doing a certain meditation, and I had a fucking vision. I'm going to tell you what the vision is, because it relates to alchemy too. First, it was a man, a bald-headed man that looked like me, and he was wearing gold armor. He had all his gold armor like Thanos and shit. Like he had his gold armor, like a knight, like his gold-plated armor, or gold armor. And then he stepped to the side and faded, and then there was a black woman wearing all white, like a white gown, and she had white wings. And she was dark-skinned and had like curly hair falling down her head. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I saw that right before my fucking eyes. It was a vision. Right there in the living room where I was sitting at. It wasn't my imagination because I did not voluntarily imagine it. And that's a science all in itself. That's something we're going to get to later this year when I deal with that science. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get into that. But that's, like I said, you can go to the post on my Instagram and kind of look more into that. But when we live excessively outside of ourselves, smartphone screens and flat screen TVs take up much of our daily attention spans. And look what kind of content you mostly get from those. So that's just me trying to be like, trying to warn niggas to stay off their computer screens and shit. And they flat screen TV screens all day. You know what I'm saying? Go out in nature. I'm still on the screen because I'm doing this video, but my nigga, I'm out the breeze, nigga. Smell that shit, my nigga. Bask in it, nigga. So now we get to the second post that I put on this in this PDF. So it's this one right here, but it's backwards, right? So I compare the plasma screen TV to dreams in their plasmic environments. So I'm saying that your dream is a plasmic environment. And you know what backs this shit up? Guess what the liquid is called in a cell? Cytoplasm. Why the fuck would you call it cytoplasm? You have a plasma screen TV, and then you have dreams with their plasmic environments. So this is how you connect the physical to the non-physical, by using a substance that is between both of them. The middle part of the substance. So you have the physical, which is the solid and the liquid and even the air and sometimes the light, and then you have the plasma, the ether. So your dream is an etheric environment. Your dream is an astral etheric environment. Your cells have cytoplasm in them. Cytoplasm in it. You also have an endoplasmic reticulum in your body, or in the cells of your body. So this word plasma kept coming up when I was studying this shit. And then you have the plasma TV chip, because these flat screens and plasma TVs have a chip with binary TV data compares to the human DNA with genetic data. And there may be a connection between binary data and the two helixes or the helix with its two strands of DNA on it. Because binary means two. So you know how they always show you like a DNA strand and it's like two ribbons twisted together, or sometimes it's like two snakes twisted together. So that may be the binary data, you know what I'm saying? Because the TV chip has binary TV data in it. And then I asked the question, are our dreams the graphical user interface to our DNA activity? That was my question. And now I'm finding out that the dream is also the dream is also the graphical user interface of your cellular activity. Not just your DNA, your cellular activity as well. So what I say is, this resonates when you go with the wave genome approach to genetics rather than the mainstream central dogma approach that deals strictly with the Mendelian model and the Watson-Crick model of genetics. Which, like I said, this is stuff you could just go study on your own. I'm just, for those that are familiar with genetics, Gregor Mendel is considered like one of the fathers, the little cracker Caucasoid white fathers of genetics, because of his experiments with flowers. Like the nigga he took a red flower and crossed it with a white flower. No, a red rose and crossed it with a white rose and got a pink one. Okay. How does that make you the father of genetics? And I think, I don't remember if he was the one that was dealing with the fruit fly and doing genetic engineering and manipulation with fruit flies. Because fruit flies are very important to Western genetic study. Because they claim that was the first time that they were able to, they were using the fruit flies and, playing with their DNA and shit. When we all know that they were also playing with human DNA as well. So my whole thing is, and this is months ago. I think, when did I put this post up? Hold on. Okay, I put this post up early this year in March. Okay, so I put this up in March. So now we're in October of this year. So my first thought was, or my first thesis on this shit was dreams just a graphical user interface of DNA activity, which it still is, but you also have to account for endocellular activity where DNA is located. So it's not just you having to dream about DNA, you're also having to dream about the proteins and the molecules and the organelles in the cell as well, or whatever they're calling organelles. Because, like I said, you have to go under the fucking microscope yourself to see exactly what the fuck they're talking about. But if this is a widely accepted thing and people can, you know what I'm saying, do the experiments that were done as well, and they can cross reference and confirm that what they were seeing was what was first described, then I'll have to go with that and say, yeah, okay, this is what we're also dreaming about in our dreams, which is it's encoded with the faces and depictions of our physical dimension, though. So, to explain what the diagram in the pic is outlining, there is an analogous or correlative relationship between dreams and television displays and movies in general. So, there's an analogous relationship between dreams and movies and TV shows, right? In regards to modern TV sets, some have been made with plasma technology. I explained in a previous post, which I'm going to do after this post, that the dream state exhibits properties and behaviors of plasma, the established fourth or fifth, it should be fifth, the established fifth phase of matter. When humanity creates a TV, especially one powered by plasma, it is artificially recreating the process of the dreams we experience while sleeping. And I just already established that a few minutes ago. The TV screen or any screen monitor of an electronic device is a display using a graphical user interface. This GUI feature or graphical user interface feature converts or translates the vast amounts of unreadable code and electrical signals inside the motherboard or chip of the device into image, sound, and video we can interpret. As you view this post, there is a huge amount of code behind it that you may not know how to read or translate, but the GUI or the graphical user interface of the phone or device you're viewing this on translates the coding into images, just like it's doing now. You're not seeing the coding behind this fucking image you're watching right now of me, of my handsome self, you know what I'm saying? I got that golden brown skin, golden chocolatey brown, you know what I'm saying? That golden brown. You know what I mean? Do I even look in my 30s? You know what I'm saying? I may sound like it, but do I look like it? Because, you know what I'm saying? One of the sides of my family, they have this trait where they don't age like other people. You know what I'm saying? My moms and them, my uncles and them, and my grandmom and them, they look like 15 to 20 years younger than they look. And I inherited that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you out there hating on the fact that I have that trait about me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But that's what I'm just trying to say. Like, the screen you're looking at, you're not looking at the fucking digital code behind it. You just see the fucking projected image. Because a lot of people don't know how to read. If this shit just suddenly turned into the lined computer code of the device, you wouldn't even be able to fucking read it. Most of you know what I'm saying? Just those who know computer programming and computer coding and all that shit, they will be able to read the shit. Just like in the first Matrix movie where when Neo goes into the room where Cypher is sitting, the bald head dude Cypher is sitting, Neo asks him, how can you read the Matrix just by looking at the green letters or the green glyphs? You know what I'm saying? That is emblematic of the Matrix movie. So the bald head dude, Cypher, says, oh, I know how to read code. There's a blonde woman, a brunette, you know what I'm saying? A chick with weave in her hair, a chick with she got that tire fluid in her butt cheek, so make it look bigger. Like he can just read, he can see that just by reading the code. Because then that foreshadows later part in the movie when Neo comes back to life after being shot by the agents, and now all he sees is the green code behind the imaging of the Matrix. So in other words, the images represent, symbolize, sum up, or stand in place for the program codes. So the holographic genetic text within the microscopic level of your DNA is translated to the physical parts in your cell, and then also projected into the physical realm of all the things that you see in this fucking matrix. It all starts with that linguistic, etheric, microscopic, holographic text embedded in the cells of your body. This encoding process is an artificial synthesis of the real thing. Our dreams is the graphical user interface of our DNA. The vast amount of DNA code, which is unreadable by most people, is translated or converted into image, video, sound, sensation, etc., that we call the dream state. Oh. The translation / conversion serves the purpose of conveying meaning and message in our wave holographic genome, which is a set of DNA, to our conscious mind. So when you're in the dream state, you are looking at symbolic representations of your genetic code. Yeah. Yeah, baby. You see that shit, that video with what's the nigga name? B. Lou. And the dude he always be watching videos with, and they be cracking up at videos. They did a video where he was like, yeah, baby. And then the nigga fell out his chair. There's some funny ass dudes. Shout out to them. But where I leave off at. Based on everything that we can do, based on everything that we can do, may do, based on everything that we can, may, or do dream about, it implies or says a whole lot about what our DNA actually is, what is contained in it, how it behaves, how it operates, etc. So this is putting genetics with dreams, dream genome thesis, putting dreams with the genetics. What do we discover when we compare them, when we correlate them? So what you see in your dream, or what the features that go on in the structures and formats in your dream, you can apply that to your DNA text. And what you know about your DNA text and the things about your DNA, you can apply to your dreams, which is another tenet in this dream genome thesis. So you get a converted DNA film almost every night you sleep, whether you remember it or not. See, I remember my shit because I write it down. I record my dreams. Something from within you is trying to communicate with you. Says a whole lot. So what am I saying by that? Something or some things from within you is trying to communicate with you. Says a whole lot. You ain't even get that little coded shit. You ain't even get that, did you? You don't even, when I say says a whole lot, you don't even know what that means, do you? But I'm going to tell you. When I say whole, I'm talking about holography, holographic, hologram, the whole writing. Holograph literally means, or holography literally means whole writing. The whole writing, the whole genome is in the microscopic level of your being. The dream and this physical dimension are but holographic projections of your DNA text. So, if you have ancestors in your DNA, can they speak to you? Can they whisper in your ear or your inner ear? Can they appear in your dreams? Can they give you directions and meanings and lessons in your dreams? I know they did in mine. I don't know about yours. But like I said, I don't know how seriously you take your dreams. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because I ask you niggas to. Why am I asking y'all? I gotta ask y'all shit. Look, I ain't gotta ask y'all shit. Look, is you gonna get into your dreams or not? Because if you do, I can be a help in this area based on this dream genome thesis I'm coming out that I've come out with, and how you can interpret your dreams. Because what a lot of like dream interpreters like to do is like, oh well, your dream is based on the culture that you're in, which may have some truth, but what's the universal code that will crack any dream? This dream genome thesis, because everybody's out here dreaming about their DNA. They're dreaming about what's going on in the cell of their body. That's what I can decode anybody's dream based on this fucking dream genome thesis. I don't know how long it would take me to actually decode it, but I'm pretty sure when you get down into the gritty nitty gritty of your dream, you will find genetic information in it. You will find genetic features in your dream. Because you can go on, like I used to do this when I first started writing my dreams down. And some of you do it without even writing your dreams down. You just say, you may have had a dream about, I don't know, two blue balls hanging off a tree. Like, I don't know. It was two blue balls hanging off a tree by a chain. So what you'll probably go do is you'll go to Google on your phone and Google, what does blue balls mean in my dream? You know what I'm saying? Like, niggas would do that. I used to do that. And then you have all these websites that have an interpretation of the color blue, what balls mean, and probably have what blue balls mean in your dream. They probably have a fucking entry for that. And then you'll have, like, some dream interpreters will give you different interpretations based on religions and cultures. So you'll have a Christian interpretation of blue balls, you'll have a Muslim interpretation, you'll have a Judaic interpretation, you'll have a depth or Carl Jung interpretation of blue balls, and on and on and on and on. But I'm like, we can bypass that whole fucking thing and get into the holographic text of your DNA in your body, and get into the endocellular activity in the cells of your body. We can go that deep. We can go that depthical. I'm trying to stop saying deep and get into the new terminology, depthical. Help me. I'm coining that word. It's a new term, nigga, depthical. We can go more depthical than just a fucking Christian interpretation, obviously, Islamic interpretation, a fucking Chinese interpretation. We can go deeper than that. More depthical than that, and get into the actual molecular and etheric text in our body. But then I was sitting here talking about ancestors and other spirits that may be communicating with you in your dreams. And when it comes to alignment, you know what type of ancestors to listen to. You can listen to your aligned ancestors, the ones that were in alignment and have reached Christhood or are reaching Christhood, or you can deal with your other ancestors that were basically Ayadifo and Achawadifo, which is a con for sick people, and then Achawadifo means spirits of disorder. So when you deal with a cosmology, we deal with the fact of, or we deal with the process of aligning ourselves with the Christ ancestors in our bloodline or blood circle or within our DNA. Because again, those ancestors and the ones that were not Christ in their lifetime, they all lend their DNA for you to become what you are. This is the whole fucking basis of ancestral veneration or dealing with your ancestors at your altar when you're doing magic or whatever, or when you're doing your African spirituality or Native American, any type of spirituality where you're dealing with your ancestors directly. So then it's not even just African, it's indigenous, like Native Americans, Eskimos, Polynesians, they all do this. You know what I'm saying? The vicious killers on the North Sentinel Island. I want to go through a training with them. I want to know what they was doing or what they was into. You know what I'm saying? Where they haven't been colonized by crackers and Caucasians yet. I want to learn that science. If you know it, hit my ass up, get in my inbox so we can have a discussion about this. I need to know what the fuck them North Sentinel niggas is on. They murking missionaries soon as they get fucking 10 meters to the shore of North Sentinel Island, nigga. Missionaries. While in other African places or places where indigenous people are, they welcome the motherfucking missionaries right on in. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a welcoming type of nigga. I'm not that. You know what I'm saying? You're not just about to be welcomed into my shit. You know? You feel me? Fuck that. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that. But this is what I'm going to do, because we at around 2 hours and 30 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here, and we're going to do a third session on the Dream Genome Thesis. So this is the second installment or whatever. I'm going to get into it tomorrow. Because when I talk a lot, my fucking jaw get tired, and I don't feel like my voice will give out like anybody would. So, you know what I'm saying? Gotta get that shit a break. You know what I mean? But this is part 2. So look out for part 3 tomorrow. Like I said, Cash App, you know what I mean? Hook me up, like, come on, son, come on, man, come on, ma'am, hook me up. $ Alex Will 64, just like it is on Instagram. Hit me up. I take donations. If, you know what I'm saying? If you don't want to give me nothing for free, I got services. You know what I'm saying? I do metaphysical counseling. Like I said, I have my spiritual warfare training course. I also have my courses based with emotional baggage claim at ether-ins.teachable.com. You can visit me on my Instagram, AlexWill64 or EtherRealist. All this will be in the description for this video. You know what I'm saying? And let me know if this video was shaking or it was going out, or it was, you know what I'm saying, it was, going in and out. Let me know. Because I think when I was doing this video, something was telling me that it was a poor connection in here. So it may be something I need to fix. But if there's any type of issues that you see in the video as far as the quality, or if it's breaking up or anything like that, getting pixelated, let me know. So this is Alex Will signing off, and I'll see you in the third installment. Cash App.